Hi YouTubers, it's Larita with TXC Tells All. Do you want to know how you can get that coveted judicial clerkship? Well, I'm going to share what I did to get mine and hopefully can help you get yours as well. But before I continue, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and like this video so that you can see future content. I'm going to be very honest with you. I was intentional about getting my judicial clerkship from my 1L year of law school. I knew I wanted a clerkship, and so I made sure I targeted certain internships, volunteer opportunities, etc. before I applied for the clerkship. I know that there are many things on paper that make you look good, and there's other things off the paper that help you get that job. Pro tip number 1, form organic relationships with people along your law school career. There's no substitution for someone saying, hey, I want to work with this person, and they're good people. I know on paper a lot of people look the same. They're good grades, they have certain experiences, but at the end of the day, when you're working with a judge, he or she wants to know, can I work with this person for extended hours every day for 1 to 2 years? And essentially that can be the deciding factor whether you get the job or not. So I'll back up. My first year of law school, I knew I wanted to clerk for a judge, and so I took my first intern opportunity with the judge, and I primarily worked with the law clerk just to get a feel of how it would be. And I took opportunities to have interactions with the judge. So I would ask the judge questions. Why did you make a decision this way or that way? In addition to interacting with the law clerk. After my first year of law school, I applied for an internship. I was in the nation's capital, where it's the most competitive jurisdiction for people wanting to intern. And I decided I wanted to apply for an internship the first semester of my second year of law school. It worked out that since I was already in the area, I didn't have to compete with people all over the country for those internships. And I know sometimes in the summers, people from all over the country sometimes come to the nation's capital to intern. But when you're during the school semester, you're basically only competing with other people that are in your area. And so I applied to a job, and I mentioned it to one of my professors from my first year of law school. And he actually happened to have clerked for this particular judge. And without me asking, he called on my behalf, and I got a phone call telling me that I got the internship with this particular judge. And I was excited. That's why I said form organic relationships with people. I didn't even know that he was going to call on my behalf, but I thought, hey, let me mention it to him that I'm applying and see how that goes. And because he thought highly enough of me, and he knew that I would not mess up his reputation, he vouched for my ability to complete the job. So that's why I did my first internship. That was in the federal court in the District of Columbia. I also did a teaching assistant job right after my 1L year. And if you know, 90% of what you do as a law clerk is legal research and writing, meaning you have to get good grades in that particular class. And it doesn't hurt if you are also a teaching assistant. So while I was a TA, it helped to improve my writing. I was able to form a relationship with the professor of the legal research and writing course, and she ultimately became one of my recommenders when I put together my clerkship application. So these are all things intentional that I did to help bolster my application for when I applied for a clerkship. I also was a TA for another class, and that professor was also my second recommender for my application for a judicial clerkship. My third recommender for application was my professor who supervised me in our clinicals. At my school, we did a certain amount of clinicals, and I spent a good amount of time with her, and so she could vouch for my character, my work ethic. You want to pick people who actually know about you and who you are as a person. And I think that makes you stand apart from somebody else just to say, oh, they get good grades, they are on law review. Those are important, but who you are as a person is also important as well. I took volunteer opportunities. I was the Black Law Students Association academic advisor. It showed that I was serious about my legal education and also wanted to give back to others. And so that builds you up as a whole person when a judge is looking at the application and saying, hey, why should I pick this particular person? I want you to keep in mind that when you're thinking about clerking, it's a 1 to 2 year commitment, and you have the opportunity to ask the judge questions to basically understand from a judge's perspective why he or she makes decisions the way they do and why they write the way they do, and you're going to improve your writing so much. So I would say everyone should have the opportunity to do that. I know everybody can't, but I enjoyed my experience. And I actually ended up clerking for 2 years with my judge before I secured my after clerkship job. And so I think that it's important to kind of plan out what you want to do. I knew I wanted to clerk for this particular judge, so I interned for him my 3rd year of law school, 2nd semester. And I was there with 2 other interns, and all 3 of us wanted the job. And when it came down to it, I had spoken to the current law clerk and the current judge's secretary, and they said they enjoyed working with me and they put in a good word for me. And I think that's what basically got me the job versus the other 2 young ladies who were probably just as qualified, if not more qualified. But like I said, you're working in small chambers with the judge and his secretary or judicial assistant, and they want to know that they can basically get along with you. And so having that vote of confidence from his previous law clerk and his current secretary was the deciding factor. So I knew before I even graduated law school where I was going to be working. And for those of you that are in that situation or approaching that situation, that is priceless to know that you don't have to worry about where you're going to be working after you graduate from law school. And knowing that once you have this clerkship, it probably will propel you into other opportunities that will help you for your post-clerkship job opportunities. And so I found the experience very invaluable. I kept in touch with all my the judges that I interned for, and I keep in touch with them to this day, and it's a good experience. So I would think that you would make sure, like I said, to get your good grades in your legal research and writing course. I was on law review, that didn't hurt. Make sure you're forming organic relationships with people, and start early planning what you want to do. Apply to those jobs, those clerkships in the court that you're going to intern at and other courts. Like I said, when you talk to other people, you'll realize, hey, this judge keeps their law clerks for 1 year. This judge keeps their law clerks for 2 years. Or this judge is going to retire. And then that way you can cater your application to the judges that you feel that you are qualified and who are actually looking for law clerks as well. I can share more information for you if you want to comment below. If you want to hear more information for those aspiring law students, for those ones that are current law students, even for those attorneys who know that the experience working with a judge is invaluable as far as even drafting pleadings in the future. Knowing how to prepare your work is very important if you have the judge's hat on when you're thinking about doing your writing. So comment below if you want to hear any more information about how I got my clerkship, some other intern or volunteer opportunities that I did to kind of bolster myself, or if you want to hear any more information about my particular journey and how I got to where I got now. Let me know below, and don't forget to follow also my business partner Tracy's videos. She posts every other week as well.